Love, something we all yearn for. Or is that lovemaking? Walloping up inside, there's a deep bubbling desire for someone that you can never seem to keep your eyes off of. That's your secret. Make that a doubly secreted. As you are building up the courage to pour your heart out, a new challenger appears. The 7 stars bitch. Holy crap, guys. The show actually addressed the plot. From slice of life to intriguing real plot implications. Remember, all of those plots in season 1, like kidnappings, fighting monsters, and RIZZED, I had been salivating for those moments in this season. You know who's not salivating? Fitz, aka undercover sus Sylphie. Hopefully for our boy Rudy, who's turning slightly sus, can start slightly thrusting again. Look at our boy Doronuma. He's found himself in a love triangle he doesn't even know he's in. Guess what, guys? There's spoilers in this video. If you don't catch up to the latest episode of Mushoku Tensei, you will miss out on your chance to Riz your second soulmate. So guys, what happens when the story veers away from the main plot? It loses the tension from any real dilemma, any real implications for characters that result in consequences that matters. That's what we've had in this season with the slice of life and this unique ED journey Rudy's been on. There's nothing more anger inducing than sitting there seeing your crush get rizzed up by another woman, talking about history, plot, family and stuff, and doing this all in a foreign language you don't understand. So everything that's going on in Fitz's head is, oh my god, I like you, you're attractive. Oh my god, I like you too, you're really attractive. Let's kick Fitz out. That's everything that's probably going through Fitz's head right now. And all she can do is sit there and take it like a man. So this episode starts off with the perspective of Fitz, which is a very great choice to start off the episode with. This episode wants to remind us and make it the forefront of our consciousness that it might finally happen. Her pink cheeks is about to explode into a red herring. If she doesn't tell Rudy she's actually a girl. Unless he's into dudes, I guess she kind of has to stay as Fitz. Just kidding, guys. The biggest takeaways from this episode are that the main plot context finally has some answers, and not only a few answers, like a crap ton of answers. There are actually 2 scenes in particular that stood out to me, and it changes the tone for a brief moment into something more sudden and drastic, like that one time Orsted messed around and caught a body. It's been about 9 episodes in the main plot with the teleportation, Rudy's mom. It's all felt like an afterthought as we all think about Fitz and Rudy's relationship and Rudy's journey of overcoming his ED. What slice of life always misses out on is the feeling of a real plot. You know, consequences like death, like huge shifts in tone that changes the characters. Carrying on with this perspective of Fitz, Rudy asks Fitz if he knows anyone that is knowledgeable about summoning circles, and then Fitz takes Rudy to Silent 7 Star, aka Nana Hoshi Shizuka. The funny thing about Mushoku Tensei is how those serious scenes can go from 0 to 100 like real quick. In season 1, Orsted showing up out of nowhere to body Rudy in the crew was like super sudden. In this episode, it happened twice, and it was awesome. The emotional ride of real tension, real dilemma, it felt so good to feel it from this anime again in this season. Fitz losing his cool when Shizuka revealed she caused the teleportation incident 5 years ago. That moment felt off for Fitz because we've never seen her do that before. However, it still makes sense because Shizuka caused so much pain and agony from that summoning that blew away Sylphie and Rudy's land, breaking up everyone's families, causing, you know, some people to get beheaded. Still, for Fitz to randomly attack out of anger isn't the usual calm, cool, collected character that's helped Rudy out with so much good advice these past few episodes. That is not the kind of person we really thought of Fitz or Sylphie. On the flip side, you know, her character was built from the beginning of the episode to be stressed over figuring out how she wants to build her relationship with Rudy. That moment felt like a peak moment in all of her stress that's going on, and that all exploded when Shizuka said that she was likely the one that caused the teleportation incident. So Rudy was relieved that it wasn't him, and Sylphie was not relieved and wanted to body Shizuka. For the inner Sophie, she's still trying to decide if she should continue to stay as Fitz, even though she's madly into Rudy. Maybe her hesitancy to tell him she's Sophie is legitimate because Rudy might not fully accept her. Remember guys, Rudy has ED because of Eris. We don't even know if Rudy's told Fitz about that just yet. And you gotta tack on the fact that it has been years, many years, and people change. So these are legitimate concerns. Like once you reveal that you are Sylphie, there isn't any turning back. In Sylphie's mind, it has to be the right moment. None of us wants to be crushed by asking someone out. You know, you want to do the best you can to kind of get a sense if the other person is really into you. And it's kind of hard to do that if you're actually pretending to be another person, and not only pretending to be another person, you're pretending to be the opposite gender. So earlier in the episode when Rudy saw Shizuka and ran away and fainted, that pretty much happened with, you know, Orsted. You know, from that moment, his PTSD was rough. And it made complete sense. This was another real revelation moment in the episode because of that Orsted interaction, of how just crazy it was. He just showed up and just bodied it. It really did feel like some real-ish was going down in this episode. Before Fitz did something that seemed completely out of character, but you know, actually makes a lot of sense. She is worried that Rudy is getting Hoshi Shizuka rizzed. In her head, she could have had Rudy rizzed up a long time ago, but she probably feels she's too deep into her Fitz persona and looking for that right moment to spill the beans. I'm a girl. No, I'm your girl. Fitz and Rudy aside, Shizuka Nanahoshi acts as like that bridge to fill us in answering so many questions that we all want answered. They even set us up for an advancement of the plot by Rudy and Shizuka making a deal together. Rudy has mana, Shizuka doesn't. For Rudy letting Shizuka borrow his mana for her summoning studies, Rudy gets intel from Shizuka. So as we continually learn more and more context from Shizuka, she got teleported from Earth and not reincarnated like Rudy. That's why Rudy has mana and Shizuka doesn't. Shizuka hasn't aged, but she's likely not immortal. We learned that she's looking for a couple other Japanese men or people, and Rudy denies being one of the names that she was looking for. This is when we learned that Rudy was the one that actually saved her on Earth, but he doesn't tell her that. It's interesting that the story has kept the secret who Rudy's real earthling name is. I never really thought about it now because it didn't really hold any significance to the story until right now. Now with this interaction of Shizuka looking for these two Japanese people that Rudy denied was one of his names, that plants a suspicion in our brains over if Rudy is lying or not. Still, we don't know the significance of these names and how that really would affect Rudy if it is or not his real name that was on that list that Shizuka is looking for. So this is a cool story that we can speculate over that has tons of implications. So I mean, that's awesome that that is brought to the story. It finally feels like we're moving on. Then we learned that she was likely summoned by someone else from this world, but she's been advised to keep that suspicion of who to herself for now. So that's even more cool mystery and speculation for us viewers to ponder about. We also learned that Orsted and the Man God has some type of beef. It's hard to know which of these powerful characters are really in the right. They're all pretty sketchy. We'll put it at that. But the mana that Shizuka needs is for her study of summoning circles so she can teleport back to Earth, which she wants to return to because this isekai world sucks for her. It's totally against everything that she likes or believes in, and she actually has people back on Earth she wants to return back to. On the flip side of that, Rudy likes this world and doesn't want to go back to his depressing neat life. The story does a good job building the episode's perspective through Fitz at the beginning because of how she truly feels for Rudy. Meanwhile, Rudy and Shizuka explain so much crucial elements to the story, and it made the episode feel like really short because everything was so intriguing. We're finding out more and more about the world, about how the world works, potential beef between these almighty powerful godlike entities. This episode had me glued to the screen for real. So through all of this, Fitz had to suffer and watch them speak and build chemistry in a totally different language. The female competition trope. It's a dub for Rudy, and he doesn't even know. Afterwards, Rudy and Fitz head out, and it ends how the episode begins, about how Fitz really feels for Rudy. Rudy acknowledges that Shizuka is pretty sketch, but will trust her for now. Hearing the satisfaction of Rudy's answer, she feels that she still has a chance, and Rudy might not actually be into any of these other girls, so she still has a chance. She doesn't have to put this 7-star bitch into the ground. So overall, guys, this episode, it might be my favorite episode because it really does advance the plot, while at the same time it brings in these character elements that came from that slice of life and from Fitz's perspective of wanting to be with Rudy. It brings that almost to a climax, and it finally brings the story along, and we get to see Fitz react in a way that's a lot different from her character, and we get to see the element of Rudy being absolutely terrified and changing that tone in the episode. This episode was the first episode this season that really made a tone shift multiple times. It really did give us an emotional journey and this immense intrigue of how does this world really work? What did happen with this teleportation incident, and how this all makes sense? Like, they brought in so many elements in this episode. It felt really good to watch. It felt like a really short episode. So I love this episode. There's so many exciting things to kind of see. No one likes seeing their crush being rizzed by someone else. So I'm glad Fitz, aka Sus Sylphie, still has a chance. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusin.com. And I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.